And there's no doubt in my mind, not one doubt in my mind, that we will fail.
Oh, no!
Maybe hundreds of miles away, you've got problems in terms of the extent to which you can use public funds to go in and clean refuse and debris off private property. And so those kinds of issues need to get resolved, and those issues are being worked by FEMA as well as by state officials. So there are problems like that that need to be sorted out. You've got, as I was talking to the mayor, in those address, one of the things you got to address, you've got to figure out what to do with all of the debris.
Are you getting a lot of that, Mr. Vice President?
And it's the first time I've heard it. He's a friend of John, or of, never mind. But it's a question of what you do with the debris in terms of your toxic waste problem you've got to worry about, in terms of where you're going to
Attacked us and killed 3,000 of our citizens before we started the freedom agenda in the Middle East. They were... What did Iraq have to do with what?
The attack on the World Trade Center.
Nothing. 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 Nothing.
Have a sense, if we imagine the kind of world we would face if the people who bombed the Westfall in Mosul, or the people who did the bombing in Spain, or the people who attacked the United States in New York, shot down the plane over Pennsylvania and attacked the Pentagon.
You also have the, you're waiting to hear from the Pentagon, you're waiting to hear from State Department. This report was prepared by a bipartisan group, the only one you'll get. Secretary Baker has a special relationship with the family. Should this report not get extra consideration? Does it not carry more weight than any of the others?
It's an interesting question. It's certainly an important part of our deliberations, and it was certainly an important part of our discussions this morning. Some reports are issued and just gather dust, and truth of the matter is a lot of reports in Washington are never read by anybody. To show you how important this one is, I read it, and our guest read it. The Prime Minister read a report prepared by a commission, and this is important. And there are some. I don't think Jim Baker and Lee Hamilton expect us to accept every recommendation. I know they expect us to consider every recommendation, Jim. They ought to pay close attention to what they advise. And I told them yesterday at our meeting that we would pay close attention.
War is not a good thing. It's not good for anybody. But it has to be fought within limits. And when we go outside those limits, like when our people go outside those limits, such as happened at Abu Ghraib, we've got to have courage enough to discipline the system, to change the system, to punish the perpetrators. There is no system within the extremist community that punishes the outrageous. In fact, they extol it. And that type of enemy is very, very difficult to fight and difficult to win against. But the implications of not fighting them are too horrendous to contemplate. So we are where we are, and you know, the fight is joined and we will win.
Third, this bill meets our commitment to America's armed forces by preparing them to meet the threats of tomorrow. Our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we. We must never stop thinking about how best to defend our country. We must always be forward-thinking. And it breaks my heart to see the loss of innocent life and to see brave troops in combat lose their life. It just breaks my heart. But I understand what's going on. These people are trying to shake the will of the Iraqi citizens, and they want us to leave. That's what they want us to do. And I think the world would be better off if we did leave. If we left, the world would be worse. The world is better off with us not leaving. It's a mistake to pull out. And we're going to succeed. And we're going to succeed. And we're going to succeed. We're going to succeed.
كما قلت فإن فقد كان كان للأمم المتحدة دور في تقديم الدعم للعراق خلال المرحلة الماضية ولكن الوضع ووجودنا في العراق ضيق عليه خلال المرحلة.
I was looking over my notes during the break, Ms. Taylor, and I was really struck by one of your answers.
I don't know the answer to your question. I will say, Senator, I was a deputy assistant to the president. I was a commissioned officer. I took an oath, and I take that oath to the president very seriously.
I know the president said recently, he referred to our government as his government. He said, my government. Most of us always assumed it's the government of all of us, not just of one individual. It's almost a monarchy kind of question, or kind of answer that he gave, although it may explain a lot of things. And then you said, I took an oath to the president, and I take that oath very seriously. Did you mean perhaps you took an oath to the Constitution?
Yes, yeah, you're correct. I took an oath to the Constitution.
Did you take a second oath to the president?
I did not. What I should have.
So the answer was incorrect.
The answer was incorrect.
Thank you.
What I should have said is that I took an oath. I took that oath seriously, and I believe that taking that oath means that I need to respect and do respect my service to the president.
No, the oath says that you take an oath to uphold and protect the Constitution of the United States. That is your paramount duty. I know the president refers to the government as being his government. It's not. It's the government of the people of America. Your oath is not to uphold the president, nor is mine to uphold the Senate. My oath, like your oath, is to uphold the Constitution.